As Landline reported last week, Australian farmers rely on mainly imported mineral fertilisers to produce food. But a Queensland feedlot has taken what it has a lot of, manure, and turned it into an organic, granular fertiliser. In Australian Organics Month, Landline's Helena Batchkovsky pulled on her gumboots to find out more.
All is peaceful in this feedlot on Queensland's Western Downs. Just a lot of cattle, doing what they do best. Eating, resting, and pooing. These are some of 75,000 head of cattle here at the moment. The lot has the capacity to hold just under 80,000. The Moreton Cove feedlot has been operating since 2007 and claims to be the largest in Australia. Recently, they've begun to look at how they can do things a bit differently. Executive Chairman Charlie Mort says there's a good reason to innovate in this sector.
Feedlotting's a small margin business, so firstly, I've got a responsibility to make sure that the company's making money. So it's a small margin business. We've just had, the markets are in turmoil at the moment. We have to innovate and be different than others.
Those innovations are varied, but there's a focus on environmentally friendly products and outcomes. Dr. Melissa George, a vet and research scientist, looks after animal performance and digestive health on the feedlot through formulation diets.
We're really passionate about the environmental impact of cattle out here, and so we've been studying the effect of a methane mitigation technology called Bovaer that reduces the methane emissions of cattle. With that feed additive, we embarked on a 9,500 head large pen study on animal performance and methane reduction.
Bovaer was developed by Dutch company DSM as a feedlot additive. It was evaluated by Meat and Livestock Australia. They found it reduced methane production in feedlot cattle by up to 90%.
We started with figuring out how to put this Bovaer in the bunk and getting cattle to eat it. It comes too concentrated, actually. It's a synthetic product, and so we needed to dilute it to make it where the cattle would eat it at the right amount. So we developed something called the Bovaer mash, which is a mix of dry rolled wheat, mill run, veg oil, and we were able to dilute it down.
Oh, it smells a bit like a brewery now.
Yeah.
Feedlot manager Sam Clothier works closely with Dr. George to ensure the animals are getting the correct feed.
Well, this is a cool room with very much its own distinct smell.
Yes, it smells absolutely beautiful in here, and I think, yeah.
And what are we looking at?
So this is actually our commodity area, so this is where our feeding team actually builds the rations themselves. Inside the loader itself, they've got a recipe card with volumes and weights of each particular commodity to actually load into these mixer boxes. And inside those mixer boxes are stationary mixers that actually mix that recipe and, I guess, create that ration prior to heading up the conveyor belt and going into the back of the feed trucks. So.
And what's in the recipe? I mean, what's in this one?
So in these bays here, this is steam flake wheat, and then we've got 2 bays of steam flake barley. Moving back down the right-hand side here, we've got corn silage, white cottonseed meat. It's like a warm bowl of porridge every morning on your table, so yeah.
And so is this hot?
Yes, so
oh, yeah, it is.
50 degrees,
yeah.
So straight from the mills, so.
It looks good enough to eat, like seriously.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it looks like oats.
Yeah, it looks like the rolled oats you'd have for brekkie in the morning.
Is it weird if I eat some?
No, definitely not.
It's chewy.
Yeah.
Just need some sultanas.
Exactly.
With all that food, it inevitably results in a lot of manure. This feedlot alone produces close to 100,000 tonnes of manure a year, which is usually regarded as a waste product.
Well, one of the problems in a feedlot is you've got to manage the manure, you've got regulatory issues that you've got to manage, and in a dry time, your manure has really only got a market 40 kilometres around the feedlot.
Over the past 18 months, Morton Co have been turning that waste product into a commodity that can travel much further than 40 k's. They have figured out a way to turn the manure into an organic fertiliser in granular form.
You wouldn't think that turning cow poo into fertiliser would be that hard, but behind this door, we've been asked to film only certain aspects of the process. Because even though it's nature's fertiliser, making it environmentally friendly and transportable requires human intervention, and how they do it is a secret.
It's a hard process. Like, we're still learning. It's not easy. You've got to dry the product out to get it to the right dry matter. It's expensive. We've spent a lot of money on the whole process, so it's been difficult. So we're only just getting there now.
Helping them get there is Kyle Merritt. He heads the research and development arm of the company.
The whole process took around 4 years, and that's pretty quick given the complexity of the factory we have at the moment, which is the first in Australia. Starting off with a pilot plant that was doing 10 kg batches, and then moving into a factory that does 5 tonne an hour.
Why would you want to take compost and turn it into a granule?
There's plenty of pellets on the market. It's another thing to go into a granule. That's a whole level of new complexity which hasn't been done. But you need to have a granule so it can be applied through air seeders, put up through augers and stored in silos. There are other companies in the US doing a similar thing, but we've taken a slightly different tangent on where the products fit in our agronomic program. The products have a lot of carbon in them, which is unique to the actual product. It also has very good water holding capacity and nutrient holding capacity. So the granules do things that fertiliser can't do.
How we've been able to produce...
David Statham is a cotton farmer near Moree. He's serious about producing environmentally friendly cotton. Mr Statham, a relative of Charlie Mort's, has been in business with him before and is about to start trialling Morton Co.'s organic granular fertiliser on his crops.
We're doing replicated trials in regards to changing our rates of starter fertiliser and our nitrogen fertiliser, applying this with it against some controls. And we're doing a lot of broadacre stuff as well on a larger scale.
Along with real-life application, there has been numerous trials both in-house and externally, including Queensland's Department of Agriculture and Fisheries, something that has impressed the Stathams.
Been tremendously impressed with how much research and development's gone into the product over the last 3 years, and the research, all the data I've seen, the presentations I've seen have been very, very impressive. And you get a lot of snake oil companies in this industry, and I haven't seen any better data on a new product than this. Having been involved with fertiliser on a large scale at Sundown Valley many years ago, and my father playing with chicken manure for all those years, and having cow manure from all the feedlots, we know what it can do on a pasture base. So the concept and the logic behind, putting it into a usable form for using on a broadacre scale is got a lot of merit to it.
Farms manager Ben Carrigan uses effluent from the feedlot to irrigate crops in trial plots. And for the past 2 years, he's been using the organic granules.
We've done 2 trials, so we've trialled multiple different approaches of spreading it across the top of the land like a traditional fertiliser, and also putting it down with the seed so it has the ability to activate straight away. The seed can get its roots straight into that and get a really good establishment, which is key for the crop.
What have you learnt?
What have we learnt? We're having really good results versus synthetic starter fertiliser, so we're able to essentially almost replace that on this farm here, is what we've found. Our yield results have been very pleasing, and the return per hectare net cost has been quite good actually. It's something that we've achieved sensational results, especially in wheat.
Along with the organic fertilisers, Morton Co are working on reducing and repurposing another waste product. Cotton seed is fed to the cattle, but often much of it is left behind. In another factory at the feedlot, they are turning every part of the cotton seed into a usable product.
So first stage of the process is we bring in the cottonseed meats and we're putting those through an extrusion process. So it's a non-chemical, non-solvent that provides high heat, pressure to start to break down the seed.
Separating the hulls for the feedlot, the high-protein meal as a supplement for the cattle, and they're creating a cottonseed oil marketed for human consumption. No government funding has gone into Morton Co's environmental commitment. According to Charlie Mort, the operation has been running at a loss for the last 18 months.
How much is this trial and error?
Look, I mean, I've got shareholders watching this, so there's been a bit of trial and a bit of error. But look, it's starting to work. We'll get there in the end.
How costly are we talking?
Look, the plant, it's been running at a loss every month for 18 months now, so I think we might break even next month.
So what keeps you going?
Well, we've got to keep going. So we've got a lot of people involved in the business, so businesses have to keep going, innovating, so that they stay relevant.
They have even more expansion plans on the drawing board.
The other projects that we're looking at the moment is around efficiency. So we see a great opportunity, for example, in the Great Barrier Reef, to be able to help with nitrogen efficiency and reduce nitrogen inputs and then save on emissions.
It's very exciting stuff.
It is exciting stuff. There's almost too many avenues to go down, but we're trying to concentrate on the biological aspect of what we do because we're dealing with an organic product at the moment. That's where the market niche is, and that's where we think the future is.
Putting a whole lot of poo to good use. And that's Landline for today. From all the team, thanks for your company. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.